Hi everyone, it's John Morley and welcome once again to my channel, Positive Vibrational Waves. I want to first thank those that are rejoining us. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome for the first time. I hope you enjoy my channel and that it provides you a lot of great insight to make your life just a little bit better than the day before. So yesterday we talked about asking the universe to give us a sign. And the sign we asked for was something to do with people, with relationships, etc. So let's talk a little bit about how to decode that particular sign. So I asked for the same thing just like you did. And I actually wound up getting a dream. And the dream had a very specific person in it. And the message that I got from my dream was pretty clear. And it was just that things are going to happen in a positive way. It's just you need to have time and not be in a rush. So that was pretty interesting. I didn't know who I was going to get a sign about. I had no clue, but I was really happy. The person that I got a sign about, that was pretty interesting. So what other signs can you get? Well, let's talk about that. So you could get anything from a dream. You could get something like being outside and maybe noticing a sign. For example, I was actually asking for a sign, and one thing that hit me was the other day, you know, we talked about spirit animals and things like that, and we talked about eagles soaring. Well, one of the things I actually was involved with was I was given an eagle. And on the eagle, it said eagle soaring. So even though it wasn't a real eagle that you'd actually see, it was actually a patch, it was still an eagle. And it was still a sign. And so what do eagles mean? Eagles mean that you are on the right path. Just keep flying in the direction you're going, and you're going to reach your destination very, very quickly. So again, signs may come up days later than you expect them, and that's perfectly fine. But when we're asking the universe for a sign, like for a relationship, business relationship, for people, whatever it is, and don't be judgmental about it. Just let whatever sign has to come through. It might come up from someone you're dating. It may come up with somebody in work. It may come up with a friend, a colleague, somebody you haven't talked to in a while. It doesn't matter. Just let that happen. A lot of times you'll be given a name or you'll be given a picture if it's a dream, but you're going to get a sign. And when you get that sign, you're going to be able to equate that, yes, this is definitely the person that this sign is for. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, gee, is it a sign? Is it not a sign? And that's always the caveat, you know, is this really a sign? Is it not a sign? And how do we know that it is a sign? Well, first of all, you have to have faith and believe that it is a sign, because when you're asking the universe for a sign and the sign just appears, I mean, that's just an amazing thing how that can happen. And as you start to get more in tune with this, you'll learn that signs will come to you at different times. And as you start to embrace these signs and, you know, understand and be open to them, you're going to get more signs. And these signs are going to guide you. The only reason that they haven't been showing up in the past is very simple. They were there, you just weren't paying attention to them, and you weren't open to them. So the universe was either A, not showing them to you, or B, they were being shown, but you were just not even open to thinking about them or even alert to them. So tonight, I hope that whatever sign you got, you can put it in your journal, you can message me, send a direct message. I'll be happy to answer your particular question about the sign and just give you some insight. So one example I'm going to give you is, let's just say you got a sign about a ladder. Well, ladder is a great sign. So maybe there's one dominant relationship in your life, and that's the one that's taking focus. So if a person didn't come up, then it's the one that you're putting the most focus on all the time, and it's probably mainstream in your life. If you're seeing a ladder, that means that you're starting to really climb to new levels. If you're seeing, for example, an escalator, same thing, you're moving up. Now, what happens if you see an escalator and you're going down, or an elevator and going down? Well, what that usually means is that you are dropping. Now, you could be dropping in the way the person views you. You could be dropping your interest in the person, yourself. You may be dropping your respect for someone or them for you. I mean, that's really how it works. So we have to take a look at what it is and then realize that that object, that whatever properties it has, is actually assigned to us. And a lot of times when we get this sign, the object that we see is not going to be what it's actually for, but it's actually going to be a sign, and that sign is going to hopefully trip something in your mind. One example of this is maybe you're going to see a red light, okay? Or you see a traffic light. And if you see the traffic light, you see a green, that's good. That means you're in a good pattern. But let's say maybe you see a yellow. Well, that means to slow down. If you see a red, that means you need to stop. What happens if you see a sign and maybe the sign, you might have gotten this before, maybe the sign is that the person that's in your dream, maybe they are, maybe they're calling you on the phone. Well, that's an indication that the person is either going to call you or that communication is open. And you can meditate on that more and you might get another sign. And it may just mean that communication is open and you need to be open to communication. So again, this is just a very beginning cursory overview to how signs work. And this one was about relationships. Tomorrow we're going to talk about another type of sign and how you can get it. But I hope you can just appreciate and have gratitude for what the universe has shown you. And the fact that you have gratitude and you appreciate it, that means you're going to get more signs. And just realize that signs can come to us at night. They can come to us during the day. I recommend having a notepad on hand, especially by your bed, and you can just write down what it is you saw, and then later on you can think about it. Because a lot of times when you wake up, you'll write the sign down, but then if you don't write it down right away, you're going to forget it because it's just not right in the top of your mind. So that's why it's good that if you have the pad or pen, pad and pen by your bed, you can just wake up, write what it is, maybe a little groggy, go back to sleep. And you may not remember that, but you may get something else. And then when you say, oh, gee, I saw this and I saw that, like maybe I saw a ladder. And then on the ladder, maybe I saw that it was connecting to a building. It was leaning on a building. And maybe the next part is that you're walking up the ladder. So that means you're escalating. But let's say you were walking up the ladder and maybe you were carrying a couple gallons of paint and you found yourself a little unstable on the ladder. Well, what that would indicate is that, you know, you're moving in the right direction. However, there is a stability factor in the relationship. Maybe it's something very minor, but generally, if you don't course correct, then you're going to fall, and you're going to fall pretty hard. Especially if you're on the ladder and you feel yourself like really wobbling, but you're not falling, but you feel yourself really wobbling. It's telling you that you've got a chance in life to make an adjustment. Now, if you get on the ladder and you suddenly are wobbling and you fall, well, that means that you have either A, made the mistake already and it may be over, or B, that you're about to make this mistake if you don't pay attention to what you're doing or treat this with a little bit more respect or listen or whatever it is. So again, a lot of these things are interpreted many different ways. And if you just understand that whatever objects you have and you relate them to your regular life and what the purpose of that object is, like let's say, for example, you see an ear, or maybe you hear a bell. That could indicate something like, you know, you're not paying attention or someone's trying to get your attention. Do you get the idea? So again, this is just to give you a little bit of an idea. Another one might be something like maybe you have a dream that, you know, you're putting your shoes on. And for example, your shoes are constantly getting untied. So what would that indicate? Well, since we're asked about the relationship, we know it's already for the relationship. But what it means is that you're basically, taking the time to tie the shoelace, and you've done this several times and it keeps coming undone. But whatever you're doing when you're trying to tie this shoelace, it keeps coming undone. It means in the relationship that you are putting your effort forward to take the step, and it appears like you're taking the step. But unfortunately, the step is becoming undone because either A, maybe you're coming off as insincere, maybe you're being too pushy, maybe you're not listening, maybe it may be just that, you're appearing to do everything right, but then at the last moment you louse it up. So what you need to focus on is, paying attention to how things are going, and then realizing that to taking it slow. If you see someone running, like really running, now, are they running toward a person? Are they running away from something? Or are they running to something, towards something you're afraid of, or towards something that you like? If you're running towards something you like, that's a good sign, and that means that you are on the right path with that particular person. Where it gets confusing is, let's say you have a dream, and the dream is a sign that someone is, let's say somebody's holding you back, okay? Like somebody's blocking you, or somebody is stopping you. Or you could be in a car and the light's always red. What does that mean? That means that you need to stop. That means you need to stop, and you just need to kind of just hang low. That's what that means. But if you're getting a sign like, you're on the road, or maybe you get a sign that you're on a roller coaster, okay? And you're on this roller coaster, and it's great, and it's all about the relationship. But suddenly, you're on this roller coaster, and then it just stops. Like, it just stops midstream. Like, right where it goes real fast and just stops dead short. That means that you're racing through life in this relationship, and that you're racing through it so fast that you're actually going to just stop, and it's going to be over because you're not enjoying the beauty of the relationship and how things are going to go. And so it's going to have a very abrupt stop if you don't change your course. So let's say in a few days you have the same dream again, but this time when the roller coaster is on, maybe the roller coaster comes to a slow stop, or maybe the roller coaster doesn't stop. Maybe it just keeps going around and around and around, but the roller coaster seems a lot more in control. It doesn't seem like it's out of control. So now that means that you have adjusted yourself to be in line. I hope these are useful. I know it's not exact because everybody's situation is different. But as you start to get practice on how to read signs and how to read dreams, you're going to get a lot of them in your dreams. In a day, you could be traveling. I told you about eagles. But maybe you're going to get something, and it could be another animal sign. It doesn't matter. Or you could get a sign with numbers, which we'll talk about numbers in the future. Or maybe you got a sign that, you were just doing something during the day, and all of a sudden you kept hitting red lights. So that's a sign. You asked for something, and again, because you asked for a sign toward the relationship, the universe is showing you that sign. Now, if you just got red lights and you'd asked for it, I can't really say that means anything, but because you asked for a sign, the universe is showing you a sign that is going to give you some guidance. One other aspect, let's say you asked for a sign about a relationship or some person in your life, and all of a sudden, you're basically, you're getting up, maybe you're getting in your car, going to work or whatever, and when you try to make a staple on something, maybe you try 2 or 3 times, and the staple just doesn't go through. So what does that mean? Well, it could mean you're out of staples, okay? That's one thing. But if we're asking for a sign, and this never happens, and it just kind of happened out of the blue like that, and you're stapling, and then all of a sudden it just kind of stops, well, that basically means that you are running out of ammunition, and that you need to refuel yourself but you need to understand that that staple or that sign that, you're not able to bind something really means that your intentions or that your relationship is not as solid as you believe it to be. And if the stapler staples, but sometimes it doesn't staple and sometimes it does staple, that means that the relationship sometimes clicks and sometimes doesn't. Again, whatever sign you get, it's all about the relationship because that's what we asked for. We'll ask for other signs, and we'll talk about those kind of signs as well. But when you ask for a sign and you get things in life that happen to you on a repeated basis, not just once but several times, those are signs. And you're going to get a feeling inside you that indicates that it is a particular sign. Now, I hope this was useful. Of course, if you do like my content, I would greatly appreciate if you would click on the link in the very bottom, the subscribe button, and then go ahead and click on the thumbs up button so that YouTube will serve this out to other people. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this. Tomorrow, which is actually going to be our next day, which is going to be our next day of the week, and that day of the week is going to be our Friday. So on Friday, we're going to talk about more signs of the universe. We're going to talk about how you can get another type of sign, a very unique sign. We're going to tell you how you can get that sign. And then, of course, on Saturday, we're going to go through the type of signs. I'm going to give you something a little more specific, something that's going to give you some direction, a little different than relationships. Relationships is good, but I'm going to give you another type of sign, which I think you're really going to want to stick around for. So tell your friends, your colleagues, your family, and associates to stop by John's channel, Positive Vibrational Waves. And, of course, as always, I wish that all your hours, your minutes, your seconds, your nanoseconds and triseconds and milliseconds all are filled with the most tranquility, the most peace, the most abundance, the most love, the most enjoyment, and the most understanding and passion to create the things that only you as a master creator can do. Again, my name is John Morley, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel tonight, Positive Vibrational Waves, and we'll see you tomorrow night.